Okay, here's a very brief lecture over the SMTP protocol, which is related to email. SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and its purpose is to send and receive email. This may be from a client machine to a mail server or mail server to mail server, as we discussed in the email overview lecture. SMTP was first described in RFC 788, which came out in November of 1981. In August of 82, it was updated in RFC 821. And in April of 2001, so pretty big gap, it was updated again in RFC 2821. As far as the connection establishment and termination, this is the process we go through. So a connection from the SMP sender is made to the SMTP receiver or server, and that happens over normal TCP on port 25. When that connection is established, the server is going to send a ready message. I'm ready to process your request. Then in the early standards, you had a hello command, which is HELO. In newer standards, they changed that to EHLO. So it sends that. The server will reply back, okay, I'm ready for the mail. And then what it's going to do is it's going to exchange email commands or email transactions. So that in the gray portion there, we'll talk about in a moment. Then once the sender is done, it sends the quit command, and then the server is going to send a goodbye command to acknowledge that it knows that the sender or the client wants to quit. This is figure 771 from your textbook. Now looking at the actual mail transaction, what was in the gray in the previous slide, this is figure 772 from your textbook. So the first thing it's going to do is send a mail from. So it's going to say like mail from Wayne at uky.edu. If the server is happy with that, it's going to send a 250 OK command. Then the sender is going to turn around and say receipt to, and then give the email address of who the email is going to. If the server or the receiver is happy with that, it's going to say 250 OK again. And then the sender is going to send the data command, which says, okay, I'm going to send you the data of the email, which would be the email headers and the email body. And then it's going to come back and it's going to reply and say, okay, I'm ready. The client is then going to send the headers and the bodies. So you have a whole bunch of messages going from the sender to the receiver. And then finally, when the sender is done, it's going to type a period on a line by itself to signal this is the end of the email. The receiver is going to store that email and send back a 250 OK to the sender or to the client. So that covers basically the interaction between an SMTP client and an SMTP server.